Everybody, sorry for the rain or anything. It's starting to kind of come down a little bit more here, but I kind of thought I'd talk about something. Everybody's talking how Wrestle Kingdom is such a big deal. Wrestle Kingdom 11 became such a big deal, and a lot of people have really gotten into it, over the past several years. Brian Zane, Del X-Man, several other people have reported, Solomon, so several people have reported on it, and several people have not. And it's not hard to imagine why a lot of people are excited by it, because it's basically a non-stop show depending on its length. You take a look at how long the show can actually be. You look at how long the show can actually be, and I think it surprises people at how long it can be. Some people are reporting it was at 5-6 hours, and that includes the pre-show matches or the pre-show events. So you can't really blame people, because like I say, it's non-stop, and they give time to the matches, whether they're short, long, whatever. They give time, and everybody's talking about the whole Omega Okada match that closed out Wrestle Kingdom, and how now Kenny Omega could be WWE bound because he puts a tweet saying, "Oh, I'm leaving Japan. I gotta reassess my future." And then, if that's not enough, you have John Cena tweeting a picture of him and teasing the possibility that Omega could be heading to WWE, maybe in time for the Royal Rumble. Well, let me say this: if Kenny Omega was to appear in the Royal Rumble, it'll be a one-time deal, because WWE is trying to make partnerships and alliances with every single country out there, apparently. At least have some kind of company that they can partner with, so they can at least use the superstars, the wrestlers, on occasions, whether it's one-off, semi-regulars, whatever. They can use them. But here's the thing about Kenny Omega. A lot of people look at him and they say, yeah, he could probably do good in WWE. But the way WWE would probably use Kenny Omega, the way they would use him, is probably in a way that wouldn't benefit the fan base. The fan base themselves would not probably like how they would use him, because you look at Kenny Omega, he's a guy that was the junior heavyweight champion in IWGP. And WWE will primarily, knowing them, look at that and say, yeah, we can make him part of the cruiserweight division. Think about that. Think about that. They could make him part of the cruiserweight division, and that would be the end of it. But you're probably thinking they wouldn't do that, because look, AJ's a kind of a cruiserweight style guy now. He's the champ, so is Seth. That's true. But what it is it's more about stature when it comes to those guys. Basically, they're tall. AJ's a little taller sometimes, I think, than Kendrick and Pete and TJ Perkins and Neville. So AJ's got the resume to say, hey, look, I've done it all. I should be taken seriously. So, for someone like AJ Styles, and even Seth Rollins, they can get away with it. They could get away with it. They could. They could get away with it. And I know you're thinking, well, so could Kenny Omega. Yeah, but here's the thing. When somebody looks at Kenny Omega from the WWE standards, kind of, the WWE side of things, Kenny Omega may be a great talent to probably acquire and have, but Kenny Omega, to them, could be an asset, but he also could be a liability. Let me explain. You see, someone in Stanford could be like, oh yeah, Kenny's great, we should get him. But they look at how he looks, and they could be like, yeah, but the way he acts and everything, I don't know, he could also be a liability, because they could see maybe he might have, in their eyes, potential background issues that they don't know about. And that could be farther from the truth, but that's how WWE acts. So even if they sign him, they wouldn't, because they have this suspicion he could have background issues. They'd be like, okay, let's put him in this division. Let's start him out here, and then if he's okay for a while, we'll move him up. You can't tell me that some of the guys they got in the Cruiserweight division, whether you like what they're doing with the Cruiserweight division or you don't, you can't tell me for one instant, for 1 second, that they're not considering moving some of those guys up. I mean, look, Sin Cara is part of the Cruiserweight division, but he's still a regular in the heavyweight divisions. So you can't tell me that it stopped raining for a little bit. Well, it's still sprinkling. You can't tell me that that they won't move someone like a Neville up. They won't move someone like a Rich Swann up or a Kendrick up when the time is right. Because they will. They will do it. They will do it. But when they look at someone like a Kenny Omega, they look at someone that's like, yeah, he's great. He could be a great talent, a future world champion, but not now. But if we sign him, let's just start him here. That's what's going to happen. Which is why I think Kenny Omega, and I agree with Solomonster here, is not going to go to WWE just quickly. I think if anything, he'll do some independence around the stateside. Maybe do a Ring of Honor show, a PWG show, stuff like that. And then he'll go back to Japan and he'll probably become champion there. Because I think Kenny Omega, when he says, I don't want to be the guy that steps foot in the WWE ring, even though he's part of developmental for a little bit, Kenny basically probably feels the same way. Like, they're going to look at him, take one look at him and be like, nah, we don't want this. We could use this guy, but we don't want to chance him being in the main event scene or being a top guy because, he might have issues in the background. That's how they would probably look at him, and he probably feels that way. Now, I'm not saying that's true, but it's a possibility. It's a possibility. Now, could WWE work something out where he makes a one-off appearance in the Rumble? Absolutely. They could, but I don't think he'd be WWE bound after that. I don't think so. Maybe he'll do a match here and there, but I don't think he'd be committed to being part of WWE all the time. I don't think so. It's just I think a styles clash, if you will, between the two. Just a styles clash. Now, as far as Wrestle Kingdom goes itself, you ask yourself, well, you see Cody Rhodes on there, taking on CJ Parker, now Juice Robinson. And I know one question a lot of people have is, why in the world did CJ Parker even leave the company and become Juice Robinson in a similar program in Japan if he's just going to job out a lot? Well, here's the thing. Just because he's jobbing out doesn't mean Japan doesn't have something planned for him. What it means is that Japan may end up giving him the junior heavyweight title. And I think the reason guys like Juice Robinson, CJ Parker go there is they want to rebuild themselves. They want to build themselves up, because you can't tell me they're not going to go back to WWE or even consider going to Impact Wrestling, TNA, because they will. Because they want, but the reason they go to Japan is they want to build up their reputation. They want to, become the athlete they know they can be, so that, let's say, Juice Robinson goes back as CJ Parker. WWE can take him more seriously. They can be like, okay, this guy paid his dues in Japan. He competed in the Young Lions program. He was a junior heavyweight champion, or he was a strong contender for it. Maybe we should bring him back, put him in the Cruiserweight division, or at least put him in the mid-card contention for, let's say, the U.S. or Intercontinental title. That's why guys like him go there. And you can't tell me that Cody Rhodes isn't doing the same thing. He's going to Japan, becoming part of Bullet Club. You can't tell me him doing that, him doing WCPW, him doing, TNA, Ring of Honor. You can't tell me him doing all this isn't a chance for him to rebuild himself. Now you might say, well, he was with the company for about 9 years, right? Yeah, and he's still young enough to do a lot more. See, a lot of guys will leave the company after several years being with a company and then come back after they've had a break or they've toured elsewhere. Why? Because when they leave and do other things, they do it because they want to rebuild themselves, because they know in the eyes of someone like WWE, if they redo this, WWE will take them seriously and let them do what they want. I mean, Cody is going by the American Nightmare, something his brother did in the final years of WCW. But Cody's going by the American Nightmare. He's building up his reputation, winning a championship here and there, so that when he decides, or WWE decides to say, hey, Cody, we want you back, and we'll let you be yourself. We'll let you be how you are on the Indies and in Japan and everything. We'll let you be the American Nightmare. Of course, Cody's going to jump at it. Cody's going to jump at it, no problem. He's going to jump at it, and he's going to say, yes, I'll come back. Yes, thank you for letting me be myself now. He'll jump at it because he had basically rebuilt himself and has built up his reputation and his resume even more so. That is what's going to happen with Cody Rhodes doing his thing. So a lot of these guys that leave WWE or leave TNA or Ring of Honor or whatever, they don't leave because they're dissatisfied or they need a mental break or physical break. No, it's not just that. It's also the fact that they want to explore their options. They want to look elsewhere. They want to compete elsewhere against other talent they may never compete against ever in WWE. But also at the same time, they're trying to rebuild themselves so that they come back. So that someone like WWE will take them seriously and say, hey, this guy, we should bring this guy back and we should just let them be as they are. That's why they do this. That's why they leave. To rebuild themselves so that the company they left will bring them back and say, okay, you can come back and we'll let you be as you are. We'll let you be the American Nightmare. We'll let you be Juice Robinson or CJ Robinson, whatever you want to call it. We'll let you be the way you are and see how it goes. And they do it because they know the fans will follow them and the fans will build a fan base behind them. And a fan base that WWE probably won't be able to ignore. That's why they do this. That's why they go to other promotions. That's why they do the Indies. That's why they do Japan. That's why they do the UK. That's why they do Mexico. That's why they do PWG and Ring of Honor and all these places. To build up their reputation. To build up their reputation so that they can come back. So that if a company like WWE wants to bring someone like a Cody Rhodes or CJ Parker back, they can bring them back and let them be as they are. I mean, here's the thing. Let's look at the Gorillas of Destiny, Haku's sons, if you will. One of them being the former guy known as Macho or Camacho in WWE. You don't think, now swearing aside that they did in the matchup, in which Kevin Kelly and Steve Corino couldn't believe. But when you look at it aside, okay, look at it aside, all right. Look at it aside from it. You don't think Camacho and maybe his brother, if that is his brother, are not trying to impress WWE? Because think about it. They're going to want to go to WWE event, go back to WWE, or at least Camacho that is, and by being part of this Gorillas of Destiny in Japan, maybe bring and all that, he's rebuilding himself. He's building up a reputation and a resume by being formerly one half of the IWGP World Tag Team Champions. He's building up a reputation that, in his eyes, WWE might notice and say, you know what, we want this guy back. Because look what he tried to do in TNA. Didn't work, right? He stayed there for how long, and it didn't work. It didn't work. And now he's in Japan, part of this tag team, and they're going to want him, and there's no doubt they're going to want him back. So you can't tell me WWE, you can't tell me that all these guys that I mentioned aren't doing this just because they want to explore their options or they feel there's better opportunities. No, they're doing it, whether you like it or not, to impress WWE. So WWE brings them back, maybe brings them back along with the partner, and says, hey, this guy built up a reputation for himself. This guy's a former champion. This guy now has a fan base following. This guy's more seasoned, if you will. Let's bring him in. I mean, look at Luke Gallows. You didn't think after a while he'd be back, and yet he is, and look who he brought with him, Carl Anderson. He brought Carl Anderson with him. Why? Because even though Carl Anderson probably was never part of WWE in any capacity, as far as we know, Carl Anderson is now part of WWE because of his association with Luke Gallows. And that could be the same with Camacho and his partner in Japan. So, that's why basically, when you think about it, that's why in my opinion, you have guys that's why you have guys like Camacho. That's why you have these guys that I've mentioned doing this stuff. It isn't because they want to explore their options, which is a good thing, but it allows them to also compete, but also rebuild their resume, or build up their resume, season themselves even more so, and basically build up, like I say, a resume that WWE be like, okay, let's bring this guy back, and let's bring them back as they are. That's why they do it. You can tell me that's not true, but it's a fact. It is a fact, no matter how you look at it. And it's true in all businesses, sports, entertainment, businesses like a Walmart, a Target, whatever. You do what you have to sometimes to rebuild, so that that company will look at your new resume, your new additions to that resume, and say, okay, we're bringing you in, or we'll bring you back, and we'll let you be as you are. That's why they do it. Listen. That's why they do it, whether you like to admit it or anybody else doesn't. Now, another thing I want to get off my chest, because this is several wrestling topics to talk about, So other things is the WWE Hall of Fame. Now, we know by the time we get to the Rumble, DDP is going to probably be announced as part of the Hall of Fame. We know, as we build towards WrestleMania, Ravishing Rick Rude, according to PW Insider, is also going to be named into the Hall of Fame. And whoever else follows, that depends. Some people are reporting maybe The Rock will follow and he'll be the headliner. Maybe so. We don't know. Because it's in Miami, it would make sense. Some are probably saying The Undertaker, and he'd be the headliner. But I don't know. But let me say this about one thing I heard Solomon say as I was listening to him on my way to work today. He said basically he implied that it's kind of disappointing that WWE doesn't just put their differences with people aside while they're still alive and kicking and still semi-competing. Why don't they just put the differences aside and induct these guys into the Hall of Fame and then let them do their thing? And I can see what he's talking about, because it's like, look, you don't know if one of these guys are going to pass on eventually, and then what are you going to do? Are you going to hold the grudge while they're still dead? Even while they're passed on, you're still going to hold a grudge against them? You're still going to do this, you're still going to do that? You're still going to hold a grudge against them? It's like, seriously, you're going to do that? Why don't you just put that grudge aside for one night, or for 1 month, or whatever, and just induct these guys, let it be done with. And then let them go off and do their thing, and if they still want to sue you, at least you got the induction out of the way, and you don't have to wait till the person's passed on. Okay? You don't have to do that. You can induct them now, like Demolition, who's part of this concussion case lawsuit against WWE. He's arguing the fact that they should be in now too, or they should go in now too, because of the fact that you don't know when one of them is going to pass, so why not just put them in now? And I understand that, so I agree with Solomon on that. I totally agree with him that they should at least induct these guys in while they're still alive and kicking, whether they're semi-retired, totally retired. Put them in. Put them in so that people can at least see them for one last time on a worldwide basis. They can hear their music for the last time on a worldwide basis. Put them in. I do agree with that. One last thing I want to talk about as I get ready to head into work. Other thing I want to talk about before I head into work. WWE and Warner Brothers Animation it just seems that they can't stop. They really can't. It seems that they cannot get enough of collaborating together, because now, in light of already having 2 Scooby-Doo movies. Okay. 2 Scooby-Doo crossovers. A Flintstones crossover. Now you got the Jetsons. And it's like, why? How are you going to make this work? And apparently, according to the trailer, the Jetsons, Big Show gets frozen in ice, gets thawed out, decides to take over the world, or at least the Jetson City, Orbit City. And the Jetsons, I guess now they have a time machine in the car, or in the flying car, decides to go back 100 years and recruit the WWE superstars of today, along with Vince McMahon, to stop Big Show and probably bring him back into the past or something like that. It's like, okay, I find the idea intriguing. I respect the fact that they do have the voice talent of the actual stars, but it's like, really? WWE? You're doing another one, and this time it's with the Jetsons? And here's why I think it's happening, as I try to close this out. Here's why I think it's happening. WWE is trying to make a deal with Time Warner. They're trying to make a deal with them so that they have a new video distributor for the home video Blu-ray, the DVD Blu-ray releases. That's why they're doing it. They're doing it to collaborate for that reason. They're doing it because they want to have a new video distributor for the DVD and Blu-ray documentaries, the pay-per-view events, the network specials. That's why they're doing it. Another thing as well is to see how a WWE cartoon will fly. Like maybe they're trying to make a deal as well, in my opinion, to get Warner Bros. Animation to create a WWE animated series. Okay, fine, I get that. But another reason this is happening, or keeps happening, is because they still want to prove to everyone that they appeal to kids. That this is a family-oriented product, yet there have been at times in the past year or so, past several years, that have proven them wrong. So, why even go there? Why even try that? And my opinion is this. I think, honestly, the WWE corporate suits are still stubborn, and even Stephanie McMahon, with all due respect, is still stubborn, and even Vince McMahon is still stubborn of not realizing that, just like back in the 90s, our intelligence as fans is being insulted by them. And now they got to wake up and realize that they need to kind of do a rebirth of some kind of attitude error, or some kind of error that's an amalgam of today and in the past. So that way you can allow maybe some violent matches here and there, but that's about it. But they don't do it. And that's why they keep doing these, but they don't do it. But they don't realize that because of the fact that they still are stuck on the fact that they gotta please the parental groups. So that's why you still have these collaborations happening. So that's just my take on it. But that's basically going to do it for several topics I have to get off my chest. Several wrestling topics I want to talk about. I have to head into work now. I'll talk to y'all later, probably at lunch, if my phone is ready and charged enough. So, talk to y'all later.